Confidence comes with trusting yourself and your thoughts. When you get nervous, your brain feels like it has to rush to find the next word. Instead, trust that you can take a moment to think before speaking. I know it can be tough, but try this. Before starting any important speech or conversation, take a few deep breaths and remind yourself that it is okay to pause. You don't need to fill every second with words. Welcome to the Voice Room Podcast, the #1 destination in Asia for mastering your voice, speaking with impact, and showing up with authority. Hello there, welcome back to the Voice Room Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Tien. And whether you're tuning in from your car, your home, or your office, thank you for being here. And I'm really excited to dive into something that I know a lot of you are curious about. How to stop saying, okay. Yes, these are called verbal fillers. These fillers will sneak into your speech. They're quick, they're slippery, and they can really affect how we come across to others. We all have been there, right? You are in the middle of a conversation, and you know what you want to say next. But there's this little gap, and bam! Out comes an or without you even thinking. But here's the thing. Filler sounds can make you sound uncertain, unprepared, and can even make your listeners tune out. So, today's episode is all about how to identify them and, most importantly, how to eliminate it. Let's get into it. Before we jump into how to get rid of them, let's first understand why we use these fillers in the first place. Filler words like like, and also so usually appear when we need a second to think or to fill in gaps between sentences. They're like a safety net for our brains, giving us time to gather our thoughts. Psychologically speaking, they help us avoid awkward silences and seem like we are still engaged in the conversation. But here is the problem. While they serve a temporary purpose, they erode the clarity and confidence of your speech. They make you sound like you are unsure or scrambling for your next thought, even when you are not. So, how do we minimize or even eliminate them? The first step in eliminating fillers is replacing them with a pause. I know what you're thinking. What? A pause? Won't that be awkward? Actually, no. Pauses can be incredibly powerful in communication. In fact, a well-placed pause can add weight to your words, making you sound more thoughtful and give your listeners a moment to digest what you are saying. Here is the key. When you feel that urge to say, simply pause for a second. Take a deep breath, collect your thoughts, and then continue speaking. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to feeling the silence. But over time, you will start to realize that those short pauses actually make you sound more confident, collected, and in control of your thoughts. Now that we have tackled the psychological aspect of pauses, let's look at some practical exercises you can do daily to train your brain, of course, and your mouth to avoid fillers. Exercise number 1. the pause challenge. Take a 60-second recording of yourself speaking, either in a conversation or while explaining a topic. Then listen closely to see where you say or or other filler words. For each time you catch yourself, replay the sentence, but replace them with a pause. Repeat this process daily, and each time try to reduce the number of fillers. With time, you will naturally replace those gaps with confident pauses. Now, here's why this works. The more you practice pausing, the more comfortable you'll become with silence. You will start to rely on pausing instead of automatically filling the space with filler words. Exercise number 2. Slow down your speech. Many times, filler words comes up when we are trying to rush through a sentence or thought. Our brain is moving faster than our mouth, so we end up filling the space with filler words while we catch up. To avoid this, practice slowing down your speech. Take your time to think about each sentence before speaking. Start by reading aloud at a slower pace. Focus on enunciating each word clearly. Here is an example. Instead of saying, I was wondering if you could help me with this project. Try, I was wondering if you could help me with this project. You pause, breathe, then speak. Now, why this works? When you slow down, you give yourself more time to think. This makes it less likely you will have to rely on fillers. One of the most effective ways to notice and correct your use of filler words is to record yourself. Now, I know it is a bit uncomfortable at first to hear your own voice. Many people feel that way. But listen closely to how often those fillers creep into your speech. You might be surprised how frequently these filler words sneak in. So, the next exercise we are going to talk about is self-recording and feedback. Take out your phone. Record yourself speaking about a random topic for a minute or two. Afterward, listen to the recording. Count how many times you said filler words. Try to reduce the frequency the next time you record yourself. Here is why this works. Recording gives you an objective view of your speech. It helps you pinpoint the exact moments where fillers happen, so you can consciously focus on replacing them with pauses in future conversations. A lot of filler words show up because we are nervous or anxious. Public speaking or important conversations can make us feel like we need to fill every moment with sound. Here's the thing. Confidence comes with trusting yourself and your thoughts. When you get nervous, your brain feels like it has to rush to find the next word. Instead, trust that you can take a moment to think before speaking. I know it can be tough, but try this. Before starting any important speech or conversation, take a few deep breaths and remind yourself that it is okay to pause. You don't need to fill every second with words. Lastly, here is a little trick. Replace the fillers with non-filler words or transition phrases. So instead of saying or try. Let me think about that for a moment. That's a great question. I'm glad that you asked that. Now here's what I think. By using these phrases, you still feel the gap, but it sounds much more polished and professional. Okay, let's wrap up today's episode with a quick recap on how to avoid filler words. Number 1, use pauses. Replace fillers with strategic pauses to make you sound more confident. Number 2, practice exercises. Do daily exercises like pause challenge and slowing down your speech to develop new habits. Number 3, record and review. Self-recording is a great way to identify where fillers sneak in and where you can improve. Number 4, manage anxiety. Take deep breaths and remind yourself it's okay to pause and think before speaking. Number 5, use transition phrases. Fill gaps with intentional, professional phrases that enhance your communication. Remember, eliminating fillers takes time. But with consistent practice, you'll be amazed at how much more confident and clear you sound. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Voice Room podcast. And if you have enjoyed today's tips, I would love for you to share this episode with a friend who needs a little help cutting out the ums. Subscribe and leave a review. Let me know how you're practicing your speech. I would love to hear from you. And also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Voice Room and LinkedIn at Carina Tien for more vocal tips, behind-the-scenes looks, and updates. I'm Carina Tien, and I'm excited to see you in the next episode. Until then, speak with confidence and remember, pauses are powerful.